We're making a little bit of a process video here about our new track, which is called Flood Brackets Bureaucracy Cut. Explain the name some other time. As usual, this is all made on hardware and recorded into Ableton. The heart of the track is a rhythm built on the Erica synth Percons and some noises made on the modular synth, which I will come to in a minute. It was a very different track that had a different rhythm, and it had a kind of LFO'd super saw sound also made on the modular, and it kind of sounded like this. Anyway, the problem with that is that super saw had been used in quite a lot of previous tracks. I used it in the track called A Better Tomorrow, which was our single last year, and I also used it in a remix I did for the original Rabbit's Foot Spasm Band. So although it's still in the eventual track, it's been kind of replaced by a sound that was made using the modular that sounds a little bit like this. So the modular loop is pretty basic. It's just based around this kind of riff that I've got here. That's basically all there is to it. There's quite a lot of moving it around a little bit and kind of tweaking it. The patch is based on a wave shaper from a Behringer Brains. That basically is being fed through a Dreadbox filter. I'm using an envelope off a Make Noise Zero Coast to tweak the filter envelope. I don't know if you can follow the thing here. That's going through like an attenuator because the CV voltages are not quite the same. And I'm using a pip slope for the actual amp envelope as well. Again, going through the Fractals 1, 2, 3 attenuator. There's a lot of automation, and that is mostly on the decay of the various envelopes. So let's just see if we can hear it. So if I tweak the decay on the envelope, so you can kind of hear that happening. And the same with the filter decay on this one. And that is also going through the effects unit, which is the Happy Nerding effects. And that's kind of like is putting a little bit of reverbiness on it. And then it's all going out there and it's going to that. All the controlling is done via a Beffico MIDI thing too, which is it's lovely. It's got basically loads of CVs out that I can MIDI control to do all sorts of things. So yeah, so that's basically the patch. You can see there's quite a lot of automation there, and you can kind of hear it changing the sound. And you can see that kind of like round about here, this is where the delay, that's where the envelope decay is kind of kicking in. There's loads of automation all over it, otherwise it would get kind of boring. So this is building up the beat on the Percons. This is the kick drum that comes in, and it started off as a kick hat pattern out of the earlier track. And it's got quite a lot more swing to it. If I hit the shuffle button, you can see that basically there's a lot of shuffle on every track. So this is the original pattern I'm using on this one. I'm using accents, so there's a little bit of that. And then if I bring in the, let's take the kick and those out a minute, and this is, and where originally I had kind of snare drummy stuff, here I've got some kind of like weird Philly percussion noises in. And if you bring it all in together, so that's the basic beat on the Percons. So this stuff here is off the analog keys. I've recorded it down to audio down here, so I'll just turn off the one there. And what the analog keys is doing here is it's providing little bits of bass reinforcement, and there's a section here where the tops are in. And it's really just to give it a little bit of body further on in the track. So. So you can hear a little bass in there, and then we've got some more bass reinforcement here. You can hear there as well, we've got where the sawtooth thing is back in there. and we've got a little bit of tops on the A, K, the analog keys here. So there's quite a lot going on in that. There's kind of, these are what I call cherries. These are kind of like little bits and bobs that I've just kind of put in from places. So I used to call these bits and bobs, but a colleague started talking about cherries on top, and I kind of like that, so I started calling it that as well. Finally, you can see that there are areas where I have brought in, this is like the original Sawtooth one, which we created. This comes in during the verses and during the bit at the end, so you can just hear that. Okay, and then finally the last bits really, we've got some more percussive stuff if we look at the top. So this is off the syncussion. There is a Behringer syncussion all the way over here with a set list on top of it. There we go. And that was sequenced using the Korg SQ1. And I've also got a Tansbear up there, which is a drum machine that's doing like the hats and cymbals. So if I put all of that in, that's more or less it. Thank you for watching.